This video is brought to you by Jab.se, the lead supplier of MMA gear in Scandinavia. BetSafe.com, Europe's only online betting site for MMA.
This is Marcus Korva with StudioMMA and MMA Nuts, and we're here in Las Vegas for Fighters Only Awards, Mixed Martial Arts. But here's a legend in the sport of boxing, Freddie Roach, newly adopted into the Hall of Fame. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Great, great. It's always been a little bit between mixed martial arts and boxing, although boxing is such a big part of mixed martial arts. We see a lot of mixed martial art fighters coming through Wildcard Boxing Gym in Los Angeles, and you've been with a few fighters. For those who don't know, who are the fighters, the biggest names that you worked with?
BJ Penn, Andre Arlovsky, Anderson Silva, GSP, we've had the best fighters in the world come to my gym, and it's just an honor to have those guys in the gym, and to be able to teach the best. It makes my job a little bit easy because these guys know when I say something, they know what I'm talking about. They know the sport, they know the stand-up game well. They distance and timing needs little adjustments, and the adjustments are not exact because boxing and MMA are two different sports. And the thing is, the MMA fighter, he needs a little more distance for the legs and so forth, and you always got to take that into consideration, bobbing and weaving, and not so you might catch a knee, So there's a lot of rules that you can't. What I had to do was study the MMA sport, so I knew exactly how to teach these guys, and I didn't want to make a mistake and get them knocked out. So so I studied. George gave me a lot of tapes and so forth. Anderson Silva gave me a bunch of tapes. BJ Penn gave me a bunch of tapes, and it was great. So the ground game I'm not perfect at, of course, and I wrestled in high school, but
Really?
And I did fight an MMA girl once in my gym. Yeah, that says you can beat me. I won.
Really?
And someone told me I shouldn't brag about that. It was a girl. I said a win's a win.
I've had the honor to train with you, Freddie, and I've trained at your gym for a long time. You have some of the best fighters in the world in there, and obviously you work with some of the best in mixed martial arts, if not the best. What would you say is the main difference between boxing and mixed martial arts?
Distance is the biggest problem. The thing is, a boxer has to get a lot closer and so forth to be striking. To strike really correctly, the distance has to be correct. But with the MMA, they can't get that close because they have the leg aspect of the game. So it throws it off a little bit, and that's why maybe they're not the best punchers in the world at times, because sometimes they start from a little bit too far away and they reach a little bit, and sometimes they get in trouble that way. But I try to take both factors into consideration, and when they just got to they just have to identify when they're going to use their hands and when their feet and so forth. And it's very complicated. So George St. Pierre is a great student, learned a lot and getting better and better with it. But Anderson Silva is probably the best boxer in MMA today because he understands distance and timing very well.
Now, we had Patrick Bogira, a Swedish fighter, boxer, who was over and was part of Manny Pacquiao's training camp, the ever great Manny Pacquiao. He came down to Black House and trained with us and sparred in there. And a couple of your fighters, Rashad Holloway and Wayne Al-Arab from England, have, which I've had the opportunity to train with them. And you're right, it's such a huge difference when it comes to boxing and mixed martial arts. People might not realize that it's such a big difference. Have you picked up anything from mixed martial arts that you've been able to implement into boxing?
Yeah, you know what? I'm using a lot more angles now because I see the MMA guys can use those angles quite more often because they can attack from the back or the side and so forth. So with the angles, I'm using that with my fighters, and I actually get the angles from Anderson Silva. And to create an angle, it's not that difficult, but when you do create it, you can take advantage of it clearly when the opponent turns to you, and it's worked out really well. It was really the game plan when Amir Khan beat Zab Judah. That was the game plan came from.
Wow, you heard it from Freddie Roach, boxing coach, Hall of Famer, one of the most respected boxing coaches of all time. And you say Anderson Silva, best boxer in mixed martial arts?
Best boxer, but we're getting GSP, and they talk about them two fighting, and I'm real close with George, and we have some tricks for him.
Thank you, Fred. It was a pleasure seeing you.
Oh my God.
Programmet presenteras av betsafe.com.